Science tells us that human brains are not wired to derive meaning from facts and data. We actually need stories to embed data in meaning in order for people to make sense of them. This is why the Science and Arts Project has focused on figuring out how to employ the power of storytelling in science this spring. We've brought 2 playwrights to IIASA who are experienced with writing about science and working with scientists, and their challenge is to turn recent IIASA publications into theater plays.
I really enjoyed the research, so learning about biodiversity, the back and forth, and I also really enjoy how one thing leads to another. So in the process of writing the play, I read the report that Piero wrote, then I started thinking about agriculture, then we talked about reintroducing wolves in Yellowstone National Park, and so I just kept from going from one thing to the other to being able to piece this story together.
For me, actually, I enjoyed the same process, actually, talking about my science in a non-technical way, and enjoyed having to interact with someone that was so interested but with a different perspective. And also, until now, I didn't think that my work was material for anything but papers or possibly documentaries. So it opened a total new worldview.
Wow, isn't this amazing?
It's amazing.
Such a beautiful view.
The forest,
The river,
the sky,
so beautiful.
it reminds me of my childhood.
Listen, wolves?
Yes, it must be wolves.
And that slapping sound in the water?
Beavers.
Ah, yes, beavers. I love beavers. Such good engineers.
It's perfect.
A dream.
I think I'm going to ask you to marry me.
You are?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a beautiful setting for it.
Isn't it?
Peaceful, rejuvenating, perfect.
We could build a house here,
Plant a garden.
raise a few animals.
A farm.
Why not?
What a beautiful place.
It wasn't always like that. We had to work hard.
Yes, we had to make room.
Lots of room for the house, the barn, the fields.
At first, we only wanted a garden. Tomatoes, peppers, zucchinis, something modest, just enough to feed ourselves.
But then we realized a tomato garden is not how you succeed in life.
Fortunately.
We wanted to buy stuff, own stuff, like everyone else.
Be a part of society.
Exactly.
Especially with the triplets.
Yeah, corn seemed like a good idea.
Yes, it seemed like a good idea.
Government subsidies,
Pesticides,
increasing demand for biofuel.
fertilizers,
A lot of forest had to be cut, but we became upwardly mobile.
very upwardly mobile. Then we had the twins.
Oh yes, the twins. More mouths to feed.
Except we don't feed anyone with what we grow. We only feed engines.
In my culture, corn is one of the 3 sisters who came during a long, harsh winter and gave themselves to the people so they wouldn't go hungry again.
That's beautiful. In my culture, corn is a commodity traded on the stock market.
Should we start a barbecue?
Great idea. I'm starving. What are we having?
Lamb burgers, chicken breast wrapped in bacon.
That sounds delicious. Is the meat from the farm?
Yes, the burgers are from Fluffy, who we butchered last week. The chicken breasts are from 2 brothers, Jack and Jake, and the bacon from Louis the pig. We have become experts at killing, haven't we?
I don't think this is a polite conversation.
I miss the forest and the fish and how happy the river used to be. Now it's confused. It doesn't know where to go. Every season it changes its mind and takes a different path. I miss the birds singing love songs. The only thing we see now are locusts, and they eat everything. The trees, the grass. There's too many of them. They eat everything and leave the land barren. But most of all, I miss the bunny rabbits and the wolves.
We used to have elk on our property. Then they went away. But eventually they came back.
They did?
Yes.
What did you do?
I asked them what they needed.
Asked who?
The elk.
You asked the elk?
Yes, I had a conversation with them. I asked questions, they listened. I observed, I tried to guess. Then I listened and observed some more, and I got some answers. Some call it science. I call it being a good neighbor.
What did they say?
They said I had taken away their favorite sleeping place.
Oh,
Imagine coming home one night and your bed has been taken away.
that wouldn't be very nice.
Or worse, the roof over your bedroom has been removed and it's not safe anymore.
I definitely wouldn't like that.
They didn't either.
Well, I have to tell you, you are one bad wolf. You've been eating my lambs.
What did you expect?
That's not very neighborly.
If I put a hunk of meat under your nose, wouldn't you eat it?
If it were yours, I wouldn't.
Even if it were the only food around and you were starving?
Well,
Even if you were the only one left, because all of the others had been killed? This is my ecosystem. I have a job to do here, and you're preventing me from doing it. So of course I'm gonna eat your lamb.
I don't think this conversation is going very well.
For whom?
We're neighbors.
Not from my vantage point. This was my home before it was yours.
Exactly. So I want to apologize.
Not good enough.
Please, you're making this very difficult.
What did you think? That you would say I'm sorry and we would ride into the sunset?
I certainly didn't think you were going to be so disagreeable.
I'm starving.
I'm depressed.
I don't care. You're higher in the food chain and you have the bigger brain. Figured it out.
The world has changed. We need to change with it.
But we put so much work into it.
We did.
So much work.
And love.
We are getting divorced.
The two don't have to be mutually exclusive. Even if we can't undo all the damage, we can at least save the relationship.
And then what?
And then we get to work.
The fields?
We give back half of it to the forest.
Half?
Yes, we find experts to show us how to do it. Maybe we plant trees.
Reintroduce native grasses.
Bring back decimated species.
And the other half?
We plant things we can eat.
No more subsidies.
No more pesticides. No more fertilizers. We add hedges and flower bushes. They're good for pest control and provide food for pollinators.
Wow, this looks so different.
So different.
Can't believe how much has changed.
And this is just the beginning.
It will take years for the field to recover and become forest again.
But at least it's a start.
I see you've made friends with the three sisters.
We have.
And you were right. They're incredibly resilient together.
We're also talking to the Park Service about reintroducing wolves to help control the deer population and bring the ecosystem back in balance.
I'm impressed.
Imagine if we all did something like that.
The possibilities.
A few things I was trying to do with the play is to show the severity of the situation, but also the possibility for change. So it wasn't just like, oh, look how desperate this is, and oh my God, isn't it bad? And then I wanted to also highlight the interconnectedness between plants, animals, and human beings to see how we are all related. And I wanted to explore a little bit what kind of value system would support the change where we need to go.
For once, I didn't have to just stick to the fact and live behind my advocacy role. I'm a human being and I feel about biodiversity. I'm quite passionate about it, but I can't express my values in my papers. I have to kind of stick to the facts. And for once, I could actually just communicate the intrinsic value of biodiversity and what it means for me and for other people.
Good Neighbour was written at the same time that a UN report was published, which showed that 1 million species are at risk of extinction. And I happened to have an event the same day that report was published, so I asked the audience in the evening who had taken notice of this report, and it turned out that no one had. I think one person said they saw it, but it didn't click on more information. And that was exactly the case in point. Reports do not really reach society, even if mainstream media makes an effort to communicate science. We need different forms, such as stories. And I'm pretty sure that if people went into the theater in the evening that same day and saw a play about biodiversity loss, they would understand the problem that we face and the impact it will have on humanity.